Hello everyone, my name is Blissful Melissa, and by the title, as you can see, we are going to be reading cringy stories I wrote in middle school and high school. Not for school, just free writing, fun, but now they're super cringy looking back at them and they're so embarrassing. I've been trying to film this video for a few days now, but I either get too embarrassed to watch, reading the stories that I just can't continue, or editing it, I just can't, it's so cringy. So I have a few here with me, so I figured I'd just read one, and then if you all enjoy this, let me know down below, and maybe there'll be a part 2, or however many parts you would like to this. I don't know how long this is gonna last. Yeah, so we're just gonna jump right in, because I'm gonna try and prolong this, but it's not gonna work. So we're gonna start with this story in a nice blue notebook. I hand wrote all my stories. There's some on my computer, but most of them are handwritten just that way. I could carry them around with me in at school and stuff, It doesn't look suspicious if you're just writing in a notebook. So, yeah, this one doesn't have a title. All of mine are titled for the most part, except this one, and the pages aren't numbered. Oh, this one, should we come up with a name for it? We come up with a, well, if you have a name suggestions for this one, let me know down below when we're done. This one, a little backstory on it, tried to be medieval time period-y, kind of. This was definitely a middle school writing one compared to a high school. The high school one, I can tell my writing style has changed. Even to now, it's changed so much. But this one's definitely a middle school work of art, we will say. Without further ado, here we go. Andromeda was awoken when someone began knocking on her door profusely. "Come in," she called, wrapping her shawl around her shoulders, and slid out of her bed to the floor. "Andromeda, I have wonderful news." Her father, King Milord, came bursting through the door. "My lord," she gasped, pulling her shawl tightly around her chest as she curtsied. "What is this good news you bring?" Okay, shh, keep it together. "The King of Thunstrom has agreed to my contract. The wedding will be in 3 months." She almost shouted, hugging his... He almost shouted, hugging his daughter. There's a little spelling error. "I'm sorry, my lord, but what wedding?" she said, embracing her father. "Why, yours, my child. Don't tell me you don't remember Prince Zale of Thunstrom," he said, stepping back to examine her face. "Of course I remember the arrogant Prince Zale of Thunstrom," she said mockingly. "Wait." She froze, looking up at her father's fixed face. "Don't tell me that's who you plan on me marrying." "Andromeda, how dare you speak of the prince that way? He is about to be your future husband, and I expect you to be happy and grateful that I arranged your marriage with a nice family." Oh, it's a rich family, sorry. He turned toward the door. "I'll be expecting you in an hour when I reveal your marriage to the court." Andromeda stood frozen in time as her father exited the room. "Oh, and please wear something nice. How about that new dress I got you from Mintz?" he said, pausing in the doorway. "Those colors really make your eyes stand out." Then he left, closing the door behind him. Andromeda collapsed onto her bed in disbelief. In 3 months she was to be married to this arrogant only child of King Efor. Her thoughts were interrupted by the quiet knock at the door. "Come in," she said, gazing off into space. "Princess, I have come to help you prepare for your special announcement." The young girl smiled as she curtsied. "My sweet Andromeda," a middle-aged woman said, wrapping her arms around her. "Don't look so sad, my child," she whispered. "At least do it for Callista. The young child doesn't understand." Andromeda forced herself to smile back at Callista. "The king requested I wear my green and gold dress that he brought back from Mintz." "I absolutely love that dress," Callista gasped as she rushed into the closet. Kate smiled after the girl before returning her gaze back to Andromeda. "You're doing the right thing. Maybe you can knock some sense into the prince," she giggled as she took down Andromeda's long black braid. "Kate, will you get me ready early so I can tell Jacob before the announcement?" "Of course, my child." She kissed her forehead softly. Callista, where's the dress? She hollered, entering the closet. Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't decide on what shoes. The girl apologized, grabbing a pair of off-white sandals. No, take these, she said, picking up a gold flats. These shoes match perfectly. Callista smiled shyly. You're right, they do. Then she skipped into the dressing room and opened up the balcony doors. A warm breeze blew her short red curls, flying every direction. Quickly, Kate brushed and rebraided Andromeda's dark hair as she did every day. I wish you'd let me do something else to it. It's very beautiful. I've told you if it were my choice, I'd cut it all off. No, Callista shouted from the other room. It's too beautiful to cut. Hold your tongue, Callie. Mind your own business. And please, don't yell from in there. It's impolite. The woman shook her head. Come on, child. Let's get you dressed before she gets any more impatient. Sorry. There, you look gorgeous, Kate said, tucking a stray hair back into her messy bun. And you still have some time to spare. Thank you, Andromeda smiled, rushing towards the door. Come find me if I seem to be running late. I will, don't worry, she laughed. Now go, my child. In a flash, she was gone with the door gently closing behind her. Andromeda calmly glided down the hall to one of the sorry, the pencil I wrote in has faded so much it is really hard to read, and I also have awful handwriting. Anyways, Andromeda calmly glided down the hall to one of the twisting staircases where she eagerly ran down them. The brisk spring morning air surrounded her as she made her way to the stables. My lady, servants nodded as she hurried by. Jacob, she whispered into the tack stall. Jacob, are you in there? Why are you whispering? A tall brown-haired boy bent next to her, whispering softly. Jacob, she squealed in surprise. Why would you do that? Jacob laughed, running a hand through his shaggy hair. What brings you out here so early? Her eyes grew heavy and moist. Sorry. The king is holding a court meeting and is planning to share a special announcement. I wanted to personally tell you before you started jumping to conclusions. She grabbed his arm and led him out to one of the smaller courtyards. Andromeda, what is it? He laid his hand on her shoulder. In 3 months' time, the king is planning to marry me to Prince Zale of Thunstrom. She paused for a moment, looking at his emotionless face. Jacob, I wanted to tell you that in person because... She shrugged her shoulder and dropped her gaze. I wanted you to know that I do have feelings for you. Plot twist. Sorry. His eyes met her. Mia. Sorry. I just didn't think Mia would be a nickname for Andromeda, but apparently I thought it was. Mia, we've talked about this. You knew this day would come. We both did. He took a step forward and quickly hugged her. My feelings haven't changed either, but you had to understand that duty comes first. She pulled away. I know, I just didn't want you to think that I had changed my mind. Oh, Mia, he hugged her again. I wouldn't have thought of you any differently. Good, she smiled. At least I get 3 more months with you. Let's just take it one day at a time. You know something, don't you? Her eyes narrowed. Well, of course I do, Mia. Gossip travels pretty fast around the stable. He winked while wiping down some of the saddles. What kind of gossip? She drew herself closer. Jacob, please, I want to know. You'll find out when the king makes your marriage announcement in front of the court. She grabbed his rough hands. Tell me. I don't want to be surprised. Do you recognize this tack? He raised up one of the nearby bridles. She shook her head slightly. Exactly. Why do you think he wants you to be so dressed up? King Ifer, was that his name? Yeah. King Ifer is here with his son. I've never met... What? Sorry. I don't know what... I've never met a Boris. I heard the prince is a stuck-up snob. I don't know what that means. Anyways, how long are they staying? Word is they'll leave once the wedding is through. They say it's too far to come back in 3 months. There you are, Kate called. The king is waiting for you in the study. He wants to discuss a few matters with you before the meeting. Kate was in the midst of pulling back the sheets when a short knock came from the door. She looked to Andromeda, who sat in her night dress, finishing up a braid. Andromeda gave the signal for Kate to open the door. Prince Zale, she curtsied, opening the door. I apologize for coming at such a late hour. I was hoping to speak with you in private. Leave us, Kate. I can do the rest. She wrapped her evening shawl around her shoulders. What is it you wish to discuss in private at such a late hour? That's the end. I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, this was written so long ago. I don't know why Mia is a nickname for Andromeda. I don't know the line, I've never met a Boris. I don't know what that means either. Like, who's that? And then there's like these lines to signify that's later, but like that transition does not work. This is so, this isn't the cringiest one, okay? This isn't the cringiest one. If you thought this was super cringy, like I think it's cringy, you just wait. The other ones are bad. But yeah, let me know if you have any name suggestions for this lovely little masterpiece, middle school masterpiece, we could call it that. I hope you enjoyed this. It was something different and something fun. I thought, you know, to bring a little lightheartedness into it. I've been doing a ton of writing lately. I'm working on one like main book, I call it, I've been working on for a few years. And then I have a collection of short stories that I'm also working on, because I'm like, I get so many ideas in my head, so I just throw them into like the short story collection, because I don't think the ideas could carry through like a whole, you know, hundreds and hundreds of pages. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this, thought it was fun, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye! Also, let me know if you'd want to hear another one for a part 2. Let me know down below if you're interested in part 2 to reading cringy stories that I wrote in middle school and high school.